but I certainly want to be respectful of everybody's time. So welcome everybody. I'm Gail Nixick from ElderWorks Educational Services. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for a very informative webinar. I would like to introduce Gigi from Asbury Court, who is kind enough to be our sponsor for this evening's presentation. So Gigi, can you share with us a little bit about Asbury Court? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Gigi with Asbury Court. We are located in Des Plaines. And so Asbury Court has a lot of programs under the umbrella. And so basically we have like independent living, assisted living, supportive living, and a supportive living memory care, and our short-term post-acute hospital resort. And so we're super excited because once we, we bring people in, we just let them know that, they don't have to move out of our community, but, they're always able to stay in a community and with all the activities that goes on and the meals that are included and, with doctors visiting, and it's a really nice community.
It is, and I was fortunate enough to recently tour there. It's been over a year since any of us been able to go into communities, so it was very refreshing to be able to interact with a lot of your staff and the residents and to see things going on. So it was really quite nice, but we certainly miss being in the communities. It's been way too long, so we're happy, and we're happy to have you sponsor this evening. I would just like to mention a little bit about ElderWorks Educational Services. We are located in Palatine. We are a nonprofit helping families and professionals when you're looking for care options for older and disabled adults. In addition to providing a series of talks for both the professionals and consumers, we publish a very comprehensive directory with all the resources for different types of services in Illinois. But we would like to be your go-to for when you have questions, that we're able to help you with, and then help you navigate the entire process of when you're trying to look for those options, whether it be short-term, long-term, or what we call respite. But we are available for discussions either in person, email, whatever you're comfortable with, but we hope you reach out to us, and we certainly welcome your feedback after this evening's presentation. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker this evening. So welcome to a triage of ideas for immediate action to take now. It's 3 ways to fund the rising costs of extended long-term care plus COVID-19 restrictions, repricing update. So our guest speaker tonight is Carol Brandt, President and founder of Brandt Financial Concepts, a local and independent firm with a rich history. Carol is certified in long-term care and a valued resource to our community. Having expertise with funding ideas for extended care, she has a passion for helping professionals and everyday people plan well to age well and hopefully avoid going broke. And I'd just like to mention the presentation this evening is interactive, so I will be taking you off of mute, so feel free to interject in terms of your questions while Carol is presenting. So welcome, Carol. Thank you so much.
Gail, thank you for that. Thank you for that introduction. I just wanted to jump in a moment. I don't know if Gigi has to leave, but I too have gotten to know the folks at Asbury and have been there, and it's just an absolutely amazing place. And I just wanted to chime in about that. It's beautiful. I've gotten to know some of the people. They're so kind. Their employees seem to have longevity, and everyone loves their jobs and loves working with the residents and the visitors there. And it's just been an awesome place. And do they know how to throw a party? I was the winner of one of their baskets when they had their open house, and it was over the top. And they know how to take care of their guests, and the guests were part of this as well. So I just wanted to add that. But Gail, for you were one of the first people I met when I got introduced to ElderWorks, and a great relationship has developed from there. And you guys are you ladies are my go-to people for my clients. I've got your flyers at my table, and when people come in, that is part of every meeting to let people in all communities know, no matter where they're from. Many of my clients are northwest suburbs, but to let them know about the resources of ElderWorks, and if they need a place or people or who's vetted what or who knows what or where to go, so we've referred a lot that way. So and then just to add personally, I presented your founder, Jennifer Pearl, with the Palatine Chamber of Commerce. I was just on the committee. I was on the planning committee or the awards committee, but I presented Jennifer Pearl with the Outstanding Community Service Organization of the Year Award last fall for 2020. So congratulations on that. There were many worthy community organizations, and ElderWorks really stood out for the work that they're doing. So I'm going to begin with a 3-minute moment here, just to share something with you for anybody that has to log off. This is a 3-minute moment, but this is a 2-minute egg timer. I am a multitasker, and I don't spend too much time doing just one thing. And I just want to share something with you in case you have to log off. And if there's time permits, I'll share something with you at the end. But everybody brushes their teeth, right? So brush your teeth for 2 minutes is what the dentist recommend. Well, if you hold on to the sink with one hand and to your electric toothbrush with the other, and then do leg lifts while you're doing while you're brushing your teeth, it works on your back, it tightens your butt, it tightens the back of your legs. And in 2 minutes, you can walk away from brushing your teeth feeling really good about an activity that you just did. And I'm telling you, over time, I've been doing it for about a year, and it really works. I can tell when I put my pants on. So it's just something to share there. So what else do I have for you here? So today we're not going to be discussing brands much as really as concepts. My firm is independent. We're in our 37th year. The scene you see in back of me is my business location. It was a ladies' millinery shop back in 1877. It was a residence for a while. We bought it in 1987, gutted it, converted it. So that's where our office is. So that's my backdrop for today. So why don't I think we'll begin and go to the first slide here. So thank you, Asbury, for your sponsorship today. Okay, so we've discussed what we're going to be talking about. There'll be contact information at the end, but I just want to, in case anyone has to log off at the end, there is an offer for a 30-minute consultation. The type of things we're going to be talking about are personal, they're custom, and again, I'm independent and I have access to everything, not controlled by anyone or any particular line of anything. But today is really to be consultative and educational, but there is an offer for a 30-minute consultation if anyone wants to talk to me about any topic that we covered today or anything that might be in my realm. Happy to help. So in case you have to leave. So when I first started doing these talks, my table talks, it was kind of like nobody likes to talk about long-term care insurance, but we really need to talk about it. And now, since the beginning of COVID, we have gotten more calls from, I'm talking down to 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds calling about themselves, their parents. What if my mom and dad get COVID and we can't quit our job to care for them? All sorts of concerns. So there has been an increase. You've probably seen things in the news as well, but there's been an increased interest in talking about these things and planning. So, there's some statistics in front of you, but my whole focus is taking you from scared to better prepared. So I'm not going to get into a bunch of numbers here. They're here for your reading pleasure to take a look at them. But the fact is we're living longer and we are all aging, and we've got unexpected and expected things out there. So might as well get prepared. Excuse me. There we go. And when we think about what's going on out there, and I'll add a comment about somebody famous, but think about this, 70% of the things we're afraid of are in 100% of our control. So if we know that we're aging, we know there's unexpected things out there, a little bit of planning ahead of time is really helpful. And here I'll mention Louis Pasteur, known for his work in immunizations, which is a timely topic, but he said something that really struck with my husband and I, who's my business partner. We heard it at a seminar, and we raised our son and commenting on this many times. And the phrase was that chance favors the prepared mind. And you can apply that to just about anything, but chance favors the prepared mind. You're better prepared when something happens unexpectedly if you've gotten ready for it. And so we've said that phrase to our son often. So what is long-term care? Personal care supervision needed by people of any age. As we know with COVID, 16-year-olds got it, 20-year-olds got it. Most recently in the paper, a man in his mid-60s was hospitalized for 60 days. So it's not just COVID, but anyway, extended care is anything that affects, it can be affected by aging, but also at any time due to accident or illness. So here we see some things in front of us here, and up to that now we'll add the, the long haul COVID related situations that are coming up. People are talking about cardiovascular, central nervous system, cognitive issues. So, we didn't need anything else on this list, but that's what long-term care helps in the event of these situations. So who pays for it? Basically two ways. I won't read this word for word, but we've got Medicare, who pays for the first 100 days of skilled care. We've got Medicaid. This is not a Medicaid seminar. ElderWorks has some awesome, very creative and professional elder law attorneys that speak very often. They get maybe 80 people on their calls. So be sure to tune in for those because they're very educational. But Medicaid is a needs-based program, and there's many different steps that need to be taken in planning. It's kind of like applying for Social Security disability. It sounds like an easy thing to do if you're flat on your back and you can't work, but it seems like everyone needs some legal assistance to get through the maze of paperwork. And that's what we've been learning in the various webinars I've attended, listening to the elder law attorneys. So Medicaid, veterans benefits, and again, I'm not an expert at veterans benefits, but there are some there for the severely disabled and those who were injured in the line of duty. So how it works is basically we're looking, whether it's self-insured or with a plan, we're looking for a long-term care pool of dollars to be used when and where we need it. Because we might have a spouse or other family member at home still needing funds for mortgage, other living expenses, but now we've got things to think about like home care, assisted living, perhaps, care coordinator services, or perhaps nursing facility. And there's that big dollar sign in the middle. And so I want to take you from scared to better prepared. So just these are the things that we need that pool of dollars. We might need that pool of dollars for. Many of us will need care as we age. There's that nursing home, community care, home health care. Majority of people would prefer to be cared for in the home, just as a first choice. But when the equipment and the people and the services exceed that which can be brought into our home, then we need to go to places like Asbury and find wonderful, good, caring people in places like that. And ElderWorks can guide you in that direction and find the place that's suited for your particular needs. The costs of long-term care across the country are a lot and rising. Unless you're fortunate enough to have a child that lives in one of those light gray states where the costs are low. I'm not sure why they're so low. They're just the way it is. But depending upon where you live and where you end up retiring, the cost of care does change. And that's from the wages of the private home caregivers to the facilities. It's all about real estate and location, I guess. So this is the famous, everybody waits for this every year, just like the ElderWorks directories, which are out. Can't wait to pick up mine. But this is the Genworth study that comes out every year. The National Medium Long-Term Care Support Services costs. So you can see how it increases, hourly wages, daily, monthly, annually, compound rate, how it's growing. And I don't want to say all bets are off, throw the chart away, but I think we're going to see some different numbers next year. I understand we've lost 1 year in our life expectancy in the actuarial charts, and that doesn't sound like a big deal, but apparently it is, and we're seeing that, which we'll cover in the COVID-19 updates and how it's impacting the industry at the end of this part. Anybody, please feel free to jump in if you have a question relative to the slide, if other things are coming up, so perhaps it'll come up later. So who pays for long-term care, and will medical insurance cover it? So I am, one of my subspecialties is a When I'm 64 program, helping people plan for turning 65, the education of all the options available, and helping people with enrollment. And I have to say 50% of the people that come in and talk to me are shocked when they hear that long-term care, extended care, the cost of extended care for home care, nursing home care is not covered by Medicare and a supplement. And they just don't know. They just assumed it was, hadn't thought about it too much, and now they're thinking about it. So you could see these 4 columns there. In nursing home, we've got Medicare that covers that first 100 days for skilled care. I think about this for if somebody goes in for a double knee or double hip replacement, or maybe even a single knee replacement, has a stroke, in a car accident. We need skilled care. Skilled care is a higher level of care than custodial or just a companion. So after 100 days, then, we're on our own. So for assisted living, doesn't pay, continuing care, adult daycare, home health care. The paragraph there, you can see private Medigap. I call it I wish they would use the terms right. Medicare supplement, private Medicare insurance. Again, that days 21 to 100 there, but Medicare supplements do not pay for extended care, long-term care, home care. Medicaid, this is not a Medicaid seminar, but and there are waivers and there is planning that can be done, but that is absolutely done with the guidance and the skills of a elder law attorney. But for the most part, unless you've spent down or done some serious planning and given away money, and then there's that 5-year look back and a whole lot of things involved. If you're not eligible for Medicaid and may never be, that's not a resource for you. And then there's the pay on your own. So if we need personal or supervisory care, we choose the place, we get some help from ElderWorks, and then beyond that 100 days where we needed skilled care, we're pretty much self-insuring, we're on our own. So in my world, life insurance is a significant part of planning. Nobody leaves my conference room without a conversation about this. We've got Social Security, we've got life insurance, we've got annuities, Medicare supplement, and right there in the smack dab in the middle, we've got long-term care. And it makes me crazy that my peers talk to their clients, draw up financial plans, and when we have occasion to meet, I ask about their long-term care, extended care planning, and they said, well, I was told we were okay. Well, what does okay mean? Was your plan stress test with at least a hypothetical one of you, if there's a couple needing care, hitting on your assets and seeing how they're depleted over a 3 to 5 year period? Oh no, we didn't do that. Well, you can't tell someone that they're okay in the long-term care arena and that their assets can withstand that, because most people can't without some sort of planning. So risk management, we take other measures to protect everything we have. You get health insurance and auto insurance and life and disability insurance and homeowners insurance. We wouldn't think of not having homeowners insurance, but long-term care insurance protecting, and that's insurance for our retirement, isn't it? Basically that's what it is, but that's kind of been at the bottom of the barrel or at the end. Why? It's because we didn't think we needed it, or we didn't want it, or we didn't think we could afford it? Or is it because we've been paying mortgages and college for our children, and our focus has been on building up our retirement plans? So it kind of gets talked about last, but I have to tell you, since I'm talking about the first couple of weeks of the pandemic, we've been really busy with inquiries and concerns about that. People that are healthy and not so healthy. So what's involved here? Well, it's kind of a 3-step process, but it's pretty simple. It's just today you're doing it, learning about the need, understanding the need. But a lot of it has to do with personal experience. It has to do with it's a family issue. You need to talk about the consequences of living a life. Medical technology is keeping us alive so long that we're likely to be more years in our retirement years than we were in our wage earning years. Think about that. We struggled in our wage earning years. So how are we going to do it in our retirement years if someone has a long-term care, extended care event and needs another $50,000 or $100,000 going out for care, but the regular expenses still continue? So again, not to scare, to prepare. Chance favors the prepared mind. So understand, develop a plan, someone you trust, someone that particularly specializes in long-term care, because everybody that deals with money and insurance doesn't specialize or isn't certified in long-term care. And while certification doesn't isn't a doctorate. For me personally, I am studying and learning and involved in webinars, something every week on the long-term care front, because things are changing. Stuff is happening in the industry, and you can never, and I sit in on the Elder Works webinars for the elder law attorneys, because I learned something, because they're different partners of the firm speak, and I learned something with each one. So I encourage you to do that. But in the middle there, it is a family issue. There's, there's a risk to the family when there's no strategy. We don't want our kids aren't going to be and can't be quitting their jobs to take care of us. We've got to have a plan. And, a plan without execution or a plan without a strategy is really just a wish. So it's time for people to stop just wishing about it and thinking it's, and ignoring the topic. We have to talk about it and then do something. Not just look at it and take the papers home and put them in a file and, not do anything. So you're doing the right thing today. You're taking the first step by learning about it. So that's a good thing. Just looking at the comparison of the not products, but the concepts of the processes that are out there. In the first column, we've got traditional long-term care insurance. And that was the first thing that became available to cover the costs related to nursing home or home care. At first, they were nursing home only plans, then home care was added on. And at first, they weren't what's called tax qualified. The government hadn't put their blessing on plans to say, when this money comes out, you don't have to pay taxes on it. Later, it evolved to where the government said, if it looks this way and it has a 90-day waiting period and has these features, then it will be considered a TQ, tax qualified plan. So in traditional long-term care, there's options for inflation protection, care coordinator services to help line up, coordinate, work with Elder Works and select places and because they vetted places that we don't just go and pick a place out of the phone book, right? We need help. And so that's what a place like Elder Works does. Traditional long-term care can be tax deductible for a business and benefit. And of course, the designers of this plan, of this part of this PowerPoint, LTCI Partners, they are a vendor to people in my profession. They say benefit usually not taxable. So they have to qualify that. I mean, if you spent it for designer shoes, it's taxable. But if you spent the money for long-term care, then it's not taxable. So premiums may not be guaranteed. What does that mean? Well, they're based upon monthly, quarterly, annual, semi-annual premium mode. And once they're established, I've been on a plan. I have a couple different plans, but one of my plans, a traditional long-term care plan, I've had for about 14 years, and knock wood, it has not, the premiums have not changed in 14 years, but they're not guaranteed. So they can rise up. Why? Because this is not a product like life insurance or disability where you buy it at a certain age and you lock in your rate. Health insurance changes every year, and long-term care can change as well. But they've been the companies I can sleep at night talking about, they have been stable. It is a use it or lose it concept, and that sounds like I'm talking about it negatively, and I'm not. But it's just the concept that if you don't use it, you don't. There is a return of premium option on some plans, but it raises the premium so high that most people, nobody takes it. I've never had anyone take a return of premium option. So, pardon me. Basically, it's use it or lose it. Then there's the life with the hybrid plan. This helps protect assets. And basically, we're talking about a lump sum that's put into something, or it can be done over a period of years. But there's a standardized benefit trigger, just like there is with the traditional long-term care, and we'll talk about that. Flexible payment options. It doesn't have to be just a lump sum. When we talk about, pardon me, when we talk about the hybrid plan, we are talking about a level guaranteed premium. You decide what you want to put into the plan, and that will never change. Your benefit will never change. So there isn't anything that's going away. There can be a small life insurance on these hybrid plans. So the amount of deposit that you make becomes your death benefit. So it goes tax-free to the family. So there is not the same tax advantages for business owners, opportunity costs. If a single premium option is selected, you've got the consideration that what you put into these plans is not sitting there growing at interest. This is a leverage type of plan, which doesn't make any sense to you right now, and it will on another slide, so I won't dwell on that. Then we've got life insurance with riders. These plans were developed when the long-term care industry didn't really penetrate as much as they thought they were. They priced their products wrong initially, and they didn't realize that people, this sounds crazy. You would think that the long-term care industry had not priced their products based upon people collecting on them, but claims, but they didn't think people would keep them so long. They did not anticipate that people would keep their plans longer than a couple, 3 years. Well, if you put a great plan together, you could afford it when you bought it, the price didn't change, and people are aging, who would cancel them? Most people didn't. So I don't know why the industry thought that. That's the truth. And that's why John Hancock isn't in the business anymore, because they had the handle, they had the market share, they didn't change their rates on an existing block of business for 25 years. And they had it all. And they still administer their plans, they still honor them, they still pay them. We have a number of many clients with them, but they're no longer working with new business. So what evolves is the life insurance industry saying, hey, what if we put riders on our plans where we've got the ability for people to make money within the policy, depending upon the type of plan, and where people could use the death benefit themselves. So life insurance came about with a rider. And I think this became probably the beginning of using accelerated benefits was when AIDS was first diagnosed. We had people that had severe illnesses. They were going to die, but they were looking for funds to help them have a better quality of life while they were, suffering and trying to find a cure. And the life insurance industry came forward with accelerated benefit for terminal illness. So companies developed and announced the first living benefit rider, so that if we were going to pass away within 6 to 12 months, depending upon the carrier, we could tap funds. If we had $1 million life insurance policy sitting there, we could tap those funds, even a term insurance policy, and use some of that for treatment and care. And if we didn't pass away in 6 to 12 months, we weren't penalized, of course. So that was the beginning. And then came the riders to use for long-term care. So that became pretty exciting, where these plans became kind of a Swiss Army knife, so to speak. So we can get a larger death benefit here under the life insurance with rider. We maximize the death benefit while still maintaining a lot of flexibility. Builds equity. Comparatively low premium for the cost of the rider. I mean, they're really low priced. This is better suited. It's well suited. I didn't say better suited. Well suited for someone that wants to pay something on a monthly basis, but so is traditional long-term care. Most traditional long-term care, the first column, the blue, people pay on a monthly basis. That middle one, or the second one, is generally a lump sum, a larger amount, like a CD money, lazy rainy day money that's sitting, not doing anything else. People tend to put them in these types of plans. But with the life and long-term care rider, if long-term care is needed, then we can tap, let's say we had a $500,000 policy. We've now got that $500,000 there. And with the plan I favor, we can tap as much as 4% off of that. 5 times 4 is 20,000, except the cap for the government on that type of plan is 12,000 right now. So we can take out as much as 12,000 to pay for benefits. We'll look at that in another format on another slide too. Typically no return of premium, but it's building equity. Benefit triggers may or may not be standardized depending upon the plan. No inflation protection, but it's growing. And the benefit, it says it may be taxable, but again, may be taxable. If you take it out and use it for long-term care expenses, it's not. The final column is suited for people that are older and might have some health insurance issues. So options for later in life with health benefit concerns. There can be little or no underwriting. That 1035, that's an IRS code for using in insurance terms, where you exchange one product for another. In real estate, the code is 1031. In insurance, it's 1035. So you can exchange an existing, some people today with some fairly large life insurance policies that can use them for themselves, not at all. So because actuarial tables have been redone a few times since they bought that, it's possible that they can get insurance today at a lower cost than when they bought that policy many years ago. And we can build a new one with the exchange money that they have and maybe even wipe out their premium. So we've kind of got a turnkey thing to do that. And it's one of the questions people ask, how am I going to pay for this? Well, maybe you've got a life insurance policy in your drawer that's got some equity to it that you could be exchanging for one of the newer models. And it doesn't necessarily cost more, like cars cost more because they're newer models. Well, this isn't a car. It's based upon life expectancy. So typically we're going to pay for care coordinator out of our own funds. No tax advantages to business owners. The inflation protection, I don't really focus on that because we've got inflation protection in the fact that the plan is growing. So it's not really an issue. And again, the benefit can be taxable if we don't spend it for the right thing. So let's take a look at traditional long-term care. How it works as well. Generally in most households, people turn to their family when they need care, family and friends. And then when our needs go beyond their ability to help, that's when extended long-term care can come into play. If you have the right kind of plan or the kind of plan that's got cash to it, we can even be paying those informal caregivers. But this type of having extended care allows us to get the coverage, get the care we need in the right setting. So at home, we talked about already that many people prefer to be cared for at home. Lets us get the care we need in the comfort of our home and bring in the services and the people to help us. In a facility, sometimes more care is needed than can be provided at home. And when that happens, these policies then pick up the tab on the assisted living facility, nursing home. It could be adult daycare and other types of care in between. So how do we become eligible? Because it's great to talk about all these things, but how does this work? Well, we become eligible for benefits when we're chronically ill, as defined by the contract, and a licensed healthcare practitioner submits a plan of care prescribing long-term care services. This is not insurance company doctors. This is our doctor. Our doctor gets to decide and guide us. So how we qualify is talking about these triggers we'll talk about next. If we need assistance in 2 of the 6 activities of daily living and it's planned to be at least 90 days, we can qualify for benefits. So I like to think about the ADLs in terms of getting up in the morning, but they are ADLs as the activities of daily living, pardon me, but it's bathing, dressing, eating, transferring, toileting, and continence. And if you look at these again and just think about getting up in the morning, we go through all of these just about before we leave the bedroom. We need to transfer to get up out of bed. We then are going to the restroom and we're going to take a shower. We're going to dress, we're going to eat, and hopefully we have continence. So we kind of pretty much need all those things working for us in order to get out of bed and get downstairs or get to our kitchen. And if we need assistance in 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, we likely need assistance in more. But 2 is all that's required in order to satisfy the triggers of the policy to qualify for benefits. So a claim, you call, you're my client, you call me, you call your advisor, call the insurance company and set up a claim. And 90 days or greater waiting period is required as part of that plan design that the government asked for in order to make it tax qualified. So then on the other side, the waiting period. So once we become eligible for benefits, then that waiting period begins. And the waiting period is kind of like the deductible before benefits are paid. So generally it starts on the first day we become chronically ill and we receive a covered service. Once that period has been satisfied, then we receive, it depends on the type of plan, but we can tap our plan for benefits for covered services every month up to the maximum benefit we choose. It's not unlimited. If it's a traditional long-term care policy, we've purchased a benefit amount. We customize these plans. It's based upon your budget. How much do you want per month? How much can you afford? How long of a benefit period would you like? What inflation factor would you like to have? So it's all customized. So there's really something for everybody. You don't have to have a ton of money. You just have to have a plan, and I'll just touch on this here so I don't want to forget, but in Illinois, we have the beauty of having partnership long-term care plans, and that partnership, having a partnership, a long-term care plan that is partnership qualified, and the traditional long-term care plans are, it's really checking a box, says that whatever amount of benefit we have in that policy, like let's say we start out with a $300,000 pool of funds, that amount can be retained if we seek Medicaid assistance and not have to spend down to $2,000. So that's where that planning comes into play. So having a plan and planning. So that's good stuff to know. So once that waiting period's been satisfied, you start using our benefits. And then as long as we remain eligible, the benefits are for covered services are paid until our policy limit is reached. What does that mean? Well, if we had a 5-year benefit plan and we had, $60,000 a year benefit, we only have a pool of funds of so much. So it doesn't go on and on forever. Older plans had unlimited benefits, but today we're talking a stated pool of money over a period of years. Now, if we only used half of our monthly amount, if we had a $6,000 monthly plan and we only needed, and we had a 5-year benefit and we only used $3,000, then obviously it would last twice as long. It would last for 10 years. So benefit payment options, there's 2 types of plans out there, actually 3, but the 2 broad categories are indemnity versus reimbursement. The reimbursement that's what you'll find in the traditional long-term care policies, where only actual long-term care costs are reimbursement eligible. They require bills and receipts. Generally, licensed providers are required, licensed facilities, licensed caregivers. Benefit limitations, non-qualifying services, so that gardening and the housekeeper and things like that might be things that we need, but they're paid for out of pocket because of the contract being, if the contract is a reimbursement type. Then there's indemnity. That's where the full long-term care benefit might be paid to the policyholder. And some insurance companies don't require proof of billed services. They just require that we prove that we need, the 206 ADLs and the plan of care, et cetera. Licensed providers may or may not be required. It depends on the company. Excess benefits, so funds not needed for care can be used for any purpose. So that's a possibility there. But the next kind is the cash indemnity plan. That's where the full monthly benefit is paid to the policyholder, just like the indemnity. No bills or receipts required to collect the full benefit, but care can be received from non-licensed family members, informal caregivers are allowed. It can be a spouse, it can be the 18-year-old next door. If all you need is a neighbor kid to make you a sandwich and stand by while you get in the shower while your other family member is away, and you can, give them $15 an hour and they'll work for you for a few hours a day, and that's what you need, then you can do that. And you can use the money to pay for your lawn service and your housekeeper and things like that. There's no restrictions on how those benefits can be used when you have a cash plan. The next thing is just a picture. It's just a picture to stop and think and talk for a moment, because we already talked about that the other types of plans are life insurance plans with riders, one being a hybrid type and the other with a rider. But to think about the fact that what's an asset class? Stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Well, life insurance is an asset class too. It's the only vehicle out there that can let you accumulate tax-free dollars and actually, or tax-deferred dollars, and actually get them out on a tax-free basis. There isn't anything else like it. And that's probably why the legislators let us have these wonderful vehicles, whether they're for estate planning, family protection, whatever the case may be. I've never seen anybody say no to a life insurance check when someone passed away. And we now have a reason to assess our life insurance and see if we have a plan that can be improved upon, because maybe we can tap it for long-term care instead of just having it pay when we pass away. So we're going to first take a look at life insurance, the asset-based hybrid type plan. This is, now I have to use brands in some cases where I can't block out an insurance company's name. I'm not promoting this company. I like this particular plan, and I want to show you their concept. So the blue is, this is a male. This is for Mark Inspired. On my next one, I thought about it later. This was already set, but I called it Mark is S Inspired. So it sounds like Mark is inspired. Kind of cute, right? Anyway, comparing rainy day funds. So this plan, this is a hybrid, we'll call this the hybrid plan for your notes there. This is for the person that has decided if I need long-term care, we've set aside some money in a fund and hopefully it will be sufficient to care for us. But what if we could mimic all the features we like about self-insuring, but put that money in a place for better use that's better suited to long-term care costs? The equation that I use this is based upon a 55-year-old. We have many people of many ages and genders, not many genders, people of many ages on the call here today. And so I wanted to use something that's kind of middle of the road here. So I'm using a 55-year-old. You can do it if you're 40, you can do it if you're 60, you can do it if you're up to 75, certain circumstances. So I'm using a 55-year-old here. So what I wanted to use for 55-year-old was, we don't need $100,000, $200,000 benefit right now. Just like a child's college fund, we don't need to put $40,000 away for XYZ college the day they're born, because we can invest a smaller amount of money and have it grow over time. And when they're 17, 18, 19 and need the money, then they'll have it. Just like this, we don't need to have $10,000 a month sitting there already there, but we need to find a way to make it grow to that, for example. So I said to Pac Life, this is how I do it. I said, please tell me the lump sum required in a hybrid plan in order to spin off a $6,000 monthly benefit for this male age 55. The answer to the equation is $117,179. Could you do something like this with 50,000, 25,000? Yes, of course. But that's the lump sum needed for a 55-year-old to give him what's in the next column. And that is $579,600 in a pool of funds on day one to use for long-term care. And by age 80, with the inflation factor we put on them, it's up to 1.209 guaranteed by age 80, and it keeps on growing. That is the total long-term care benefit. So the rainy day fund there in the middle, you put the 117,000 in there. If you quit, what's special about this is that you can always walk away with any part of or all of the 117,000. There's no fees, there's no charges. It's fully refundable, and you can have it back at any time. If you die, the same amount of money that was put in is given to the heirs on a tax-free basis, because it's a life insurance plan. So that's why I showed you the pie, life insurance as an asset class, because using life insurance is the only way. A bank can't do this. You can't go over to XYZ bank and say, hey, can I give you $117,000, but if I get sick, will you give me $579,000? Can't do that. And can you give me 1.2 million when I'm 80? No, they can't do that. Why? Because they're not an insurance company. Only an insurance company can do this. When I saw this, it looked too good to be true, but this is 100-plus-year-old Pac Life. They've been doing it for a long time, and I think they're number one in this particular arena. But forget the branding. I want to show you concept here. That's what I'm here today for. So in the middle, the planned rainy day fund. What's the risk? Well, if we put this 117,000 aside. Oh, the trainer, by the way, when we first learned about this, it's been about a decade, he said, call it a free parking place. We're not going to charge anything, but we're also not going to pay you anything. So it's not growing in interest because it's being repositioned. So it's repositioned out of the CD or wherever it was sitting, maybe a low interest bearing account, non-performing asset, just a savings plan, shoebox, whatever, reposition it over to Pac Life. So what's the risk? If we live, it helped in this, and we have just a rainy day fund, well, we've got $117,000 to use if we haven't put it in a plan. If we quit, we have our 117,000. And if we die, then we've got 117,000 to leave to our heirs if no long-term care was needed. What's the risk? The risk is, will that rainy day fund be enough to cover the long-term care expenses of maybe a 3 to 5 year event that many people need? The answer is no there. But what if we repositioned it over to a plan like this? The person gets 579,600 on day one, 1.2 at age 80, can always get the 117,000 back. And with this, I erred on the life insurance. The death benefit is 144,000. I apologize. So 144,000, and that varies depending upon age. The older you get when you buy this, sometimes the amount of the deposit is the exact same of the death benefit. So what's the risk here? What is the risk if we reposition from our CD over to a plan like this? Well, if we changed our mind, all we're going to get is our money back without any growth. So the time value of money has been lost there, but I report, you decide. It's just an option. This is the second page of that, just to look at it. And then from another perspective, there's that pie chart there showing our asset classes, IRAs, stocks, bonds, real estate, other assets. And so the idea is to take a little bit of the cash and reposition if we have it. What if we don't have it? Then there's other ways to pay, as we'll see, on a monthly basis. So in these three boxes here, it just shows that on day one, this is why it's called a leverage plan or hybrid. On day one, the leverage, the amount of money we deposit versus the amount of money we get to tap and that's there for benefit is 4.95 times, almost 5 times what we deposited. And you don't get handed the 579,000. If you die, your heirs don't get the 579,000. If you need long-term care, you get to tap it for a percentage, and when it starts at 6,000. By age 80, the leverage is 10.3. You should see what a 40-year-old's leverage is. It's crazy. 10.32 by age 80 is $1.2 million of benefit that we get to tap for 13,500, and again, tax-free. So the death benefit is either the return of premium, or in this case, it's 144,000 because of the age of the person. So the pink one here, this is for Gail. Oh my gosh, her cost is 140,481. Why? Because we ladies are destined to live a little longer than the gents. Actuarially, that's how they price them. So the female, age 55, also looking for the $6,000 monthly benefit, would need 140,481. Could you do something for 25,000 and have that same leverage multiplier? Absolutely. I have people that inherited money that didn't want any risk. Between the two of them, they each put aside, I think they each put two $200,000 plans together. So 4 and 4. And at their age, it came out to 1.6. They didn't want any risk. So now they've got that there for their peace of mind. And they've still got the cash they can tap anytime. They split it up into 2 different contracts because they felt that if they ever needed to break one and have some money back, then they were leaving the other intact. But it worked for them. So the profile of people that do this tend to be people like that inherit a lump sum that they weren't expecting. And now they can secure their future. Widows and widowers sometimes are rich with, not rich, but have a supply, not rich, but are rich with CDs because they're conservative and they're trying to hang on to maybe the death benefit from their spouse's plan. So they can reposition over here and just get more bang for their buck and leverage that money without any risk with the loss of performance. There's the second page of Gail's. Her leverage is 4.13. She's again female, so her leverage is different because of the amount of money. 8.61, so 8.6 times the amount that she puts in, she gets the tap to get her 13,500. So now we'll take a look at life insurance with the living or accelerated benefit riders. This is a lot of information on a page, but this is so difficult to show because there's 3 different ways to do this concept. Here's Mark S. Inspired. So this is a male age 55. I have to show Prudential on here because I can't use their stuff without, taking their name off of everything. So this is now take the concept of we still want that $6,000 monthly benefit for the long-term care facility when starting out when we're 55. So I'm going to confuse you further, but I'll try to keep this really simple. Prudential has a rider. The insurance companies have a rider that's generally 2%. We can tap the death benefit 2%. So I go to Prudential and I say, give me the death benefit required to produce $6,000 of monthly tax-free benefit for the male age 55. And the equation was 3,000. 3 times 2 is 6, except they also have a 4% rider, and it's literally pennies difference. So I take the 4% rider. Why? Because I can start Mark out with $12,000 tax-free benefit. I'm just getting the 10-minute alert here, so I'm going to move on. So Mark has a $300,000 benefit. I'm showing a hypothetical 8 and 6% return on the left, but in the middle, let's go to the gold. So he has a $300,000 benefit to start out with, and his premium would be, and I know people would like to know this, with the traditional long-term care, you can kind of customize. With this, you can as well. But just so you see, if he put aside $521 a month, and it says life pay, because that would mean every month for life, he would start out with a $300,000 benefit, initially a $12,000 long-term care benefit. And as time goes on, at that 8% hypothetical return, and I back this up with a full proposal, which I'd send to anyone that asks for it for themselves or for this age. By age 85, by age 80, the benefit is up to 13,000 and the death benefit has grown to 325, hypothetically. By age 85, it's up to 18 and the death benefit is 467. Then by age 90, 26,000 of long-term care benefit, and it's coming off of a 650,000 benefit. Just to explain quickly, if that $100,000 of the 300 or the 400 or the $600,000 benefit was used by Mark, his survivors would get the rest. Unlike the other one, the Pac Life one that has that leveraged large amount, but you only get what you put in. Here, he could pay $521 and tomorrow have a stroke and be tapping $300,000. If it happened when he was 85, he'd be tapping $467,000. Okay, so there's it at 8 and 6% return. It does change the numbers. In the middle, this is what if somebody wanted to pay it off over a 10-year period of time? That Pac Life one can also be done over a period of time. It ends up you put more money into it though. Here, in this case, you put less. If you paid it off over a 10-year period, you could do it for $1,000 a month, about $12,000 a year. And then you do it for 10 years and then no more. The benefit starting out of the 300,000 death benefit is the same. The long-term care benefit, the 4% of the 3 is the same, but it's growing differently. Why? Why is it growing differently? Why am I seeing different long-term care benefits and different death benefits? Because we're giving the insurance company $1,000 a month versus $521. And we're doing it over 10 years and then let it cook, so to speak. So you can see the numbers are different. This one ends up with nearly $700,000 death benefit at 90, but our premium never changed. Now, the good thing about this is that it's variable, meaning there is market activity inside of it, potential, but these are set up the way I set them up. It's guaranteed to age 120, regardless of market performance, that the death benefit of the 300,000 and that $12,000 long-term care benefit will never change. So the bottom one is a single. That's the single pay. So this would be similar to the PAC, Pacific Life Plan, in showing you, I need the $6,000 benefit. What is the lump sum I need to put aside in order to do that? It's $146,000, but could it be done monthly, like $521 in the top range? Yes, over a 10-year period. It could be done over a 5-year period, 20-year period, whatever you want. It's all. The death benefit, $300,000. Is that the minimum? No, certainly not. $50,000, $25,000. Is $521 the minimum? No, certainly not. $100 a month, $200 a month. Go to the grocery store with $200 in your pocket, you come back with $200 for the groceries. Same thing here. Whatever you want that's affordable. We design plans are designed to suit your needs. When you go down to that bottom one there, the $146,000, that death benefit turns out to be, and the care benefits, $612,000 by age 90. Why is that smaller than the one paid over 10 years? Because it was just put in there one time and nothing else was added. It's just actuarially the way that it goes. If we go to the next one, I did one for the girls here too. So we've got Gail, age 55. Her premium now, it's going to be smaller, $464, because in life insurance, women's life expectancies are longer than men. So it penalizes us on the long-term care traditional product side, but we get benefit or a bonus here. So $464 a month, she'd pay that on a monthly basis. And can people afford more? Can people afford less? Can people afford that? Some people, it depends on your situation. People, some people still have pensions and still have income from other sources coming in, depends on your, on your own lifestyle and your affordability. But she starts out with $12,000. By age 85, she's got $16,000 a month long-term care benefit. By the way, I haven't touched on this yet. It's all cash, 100% cash. Do with it as you please. 2 of 6 ADLs, qualify for benefits. Once you qualify for benefits, you have a check coming every month, every year, however you would like it. And you can spend it on travel, home modification, take your family on a trip, bring people to see you, satisfy your bucket lists. Once, if you're dependent in 2 of 6 activities of daily living and your doctor says so, you've got a plan. So it builds up to $527,000. These are the numbers at 6%. And again, not to talk about this too deep, I need to provide you with a prospectus, full proposal, all that. The middle one, pardon me, the middle one, $898. She paid $898 for over a 10-year period of time, paid on a monthly basis. The numbers would look different if she paid the annual premium, but this is the monthly. Pay it for a monthly basis, 12 times a year over a 10-year period of time. It built up to $614,000, and we see that right there. And then the lump sum, in contrast to the $140,000 that we need to give Pacific Life just to get back $140,000, this is $128,000 that we could do one time. Do people have that? Sometimes they do. Sometimes there's an inheritance CD sitting there. Everybody's different. This turns into 1.1 million at 8% at age 90. Over here, we have 26,000 of benefit by age 80. Statistics say that maybe by our mid 80s, we might be starting to tap these benefits if medical technology keeps us alive so long that our bodies weren't meant to be alive till we're 150 because our bone structure, our bone matrix, might not allow that, but we just might need some help and might need these plans. So you can see the monthly benefit there. As long as the IRS per diem amount allows it, it's up to $44,000. And that death benefit is 1.1. What happens if we die in our sleep and we never use this plan? Then this far right column is the death benefit with a minimal guarantee of the 300,000 if your plan grew by 0, had 0 growth, or these numbers over here, all of that tax-free. So we're repositioning assets from fully taxable to give ourselves the benefit of a cushion here, of a safety net, having a plan instead of just having it be a wish and not doing anything, and taking care of our family too. So if you already have life insurance and it doesn't have a rider, then have somebody take a look at it. So these benefit access riders, the ones with cash, like on the left bottom here, pay a family member to take care of you, modify your home, take loved ones on a trip, transportation, anything you'd like. You can use it for drugs, yard work, home care. It's kind of a Swiss Army knife that lets you do a lot of things. Is it for everybody? No, there's 2-3 other ways you can do this as well. So who might be interested in this type of rider? Well, you have a family history of longevity or chronic illness, concerned about outliving your spouse, need income for non-medical expenses, and so on. We don't want to be a burden. We want to have access to our death benefit ourselves. Oh, I should go back because I didn't show you this.
Carol, you're running out of time. We only have a couple minutes left.
Okay. All right. I won't go back. Okay. Fixed index annuities. We talked about that a little bit, that the higher issue ages can take advantage of this. There's a little bit more relaxed underwriting, and in some cases, no underwriting. So if somebody has waited too long and has gotten into their 80s and they still would like to do something, they should still know that there's still some hope. These type of plans let us take out a greater percentage of benefit to use for long-term care use with some tax advantages. So that's where that would come into play. Just a quick industry update. There have been 31 pricing changes and plan modifications since COVID broke out. Many of them are the ones with the extended care riders on them. Long-term care pricing adjustments. It hasn't hit Illinois yet with the companies that are my favorites that do the best job. but we just got a notice today, Delaware, Florida, North and South Dakota. So again, this is not to scare you, but I promised an update here because people need to know this. The industry is reeling back from the COVID claims, the deaths, people with the residual long haul, problems, and they're seeking long-term care policy benefits sooner than expected. So all I can say is if you don't have an extended care plan in place right now and you wanted to have one, now is the time. You're never going to see any better lineup of products than there are out there now because they're just getting more restrictive. At the beginning of COVID, Mutual of Omaha, one of my favorites, they stopped writing plans if you were over 64, and that was a shock. They have lifted that, but those things can come back because might we get another virus? Might something else happen? I don't know. So these are some considerations and funding questions. These are common questions that I get. If you want to glance at these. If you have an old plan that nursing home coverage only, can you purchase a supplement? Yes, you can. You can look and supplement it, hang on to what you have. Don't cancel anything. Could COVID-19 residual complications resulting in a disability, would they be covered by these plans if I need long-term care? Absolutely. If you have a history of cancer, diabetes, heart condition, or other history, can you still qualify? Yes, there are crediting programs where if other factors are healthy, if you fully recovered from these conditions, nobody gets declined in my world. I pre-screen everybody anonymously so that they can know ahead of time and not disappoint people. So, how do you pay? So you can still qualify under many circumstances. Some things you can't, but no surprises. It's just, you need someone to look at it that knows what they're doing and to pre-screen you. Then how to pay for it. We talked about exchanges, old annuities that you have, that rainy day fund, give early inheritance. We can ask parents, grandparents that are going to give you money anyway, like, hey, I'd really like to start a long-term care plan. Depends on your relationship. Cash value of existing life insurance policies. The old ones are in an excellent place. So anyway, what inspires you? If you're inspired to call for a 30-minute consultation, be happy to chat with you further about this or supply you any parts of the slides. It's a huge file and it's too big to email, but I can send you any part of it or do something for yourself. But please reach out to someone that you trust, someone that you're working with now perhaps, and talk about these things. And don't let somebody tell you you're fine if your financial plan has not been tested to see, are you really fine? And again, I hope I've taken you from scared to a little bit better prepared so that you know that there's some things out there and that there's hope for people that even have health conditions. But changes are afoot in the industry, and just don't wait too long. So thank you for being here.
That's great, Carol. I know that the whole key is really all about planning. And I don't know why people don't think it's a good idea to plan, because just like in anything that we have a conversation with about, a community, it's always about, I always say, you have more choices when you are able to plan ahead, be proactive rather than reactive.
You betcha.
And not only that, when there's a situation or what we call a crisis, a medical event, or we want to call it, everyone is in such a high level of stress, you're not always going to make the right choice. So
Right.
here, while you're in good health, while you can sit down and talk to someone who is able to advise you, like you, about options, they're in a much better position. Interesting enough said about so many of those policies that are no longer in effect. So John Hancock was one that I remember years ago. It had a cost of living increase. It was so excellent. It was just a phenomenal policy, and it just not, most everyone has gotten out of the industry. That's
There's less than a handful left, honestly. But there's a couple companies that we can sleep at night, but there's been some huge rate increases with some names that you'd recognize, and they've just priced people out of the marketplace, or out of having it. Fortunately, some of the plans let you keep your premium but lower your benefit, which is not what we intended when we bought them, but that is an option with some of the plans. And just need somebody to know it, to tell people. I've had somebody that wasn't my client cancel a plan because they couldn't afford it anymore. And when we checked into it later, there was still time to grab it. I helped them through this. We found out that there was an option to reduce their benefit and keep it. And no one told them. Their advisor didn't tell them. They just let them cancel it. And it's awful. It was awful. So I'm my best self when I'm helping someone. So I don't have to get paid to help with somebody like that. That wasn't my case. I was never going to get paid on it, and I don't care. Just like ElderWorks, they're not for profit. They help everyone. So
Well, we hope, right? Same thing. We can sleep at night, and that's the whole thing.
exactly.
We all try, and I think everyone just gives it as the best that we possibly can. Sometimes if something's a challenge, everybody will research it, but people usually call us in crisis, not always, but sometimes, and we understand. So again, we'll certainly do our best. Gigi, once again, thank you so much for sponsoring Asbury Court. We're thrilled that you were able to join us this evening.
Thank
Carol, thank you for providing for such great information. Does anyone have any questions? You still have time just to put either, I can unmute you or you can unmute yourself. I don't see, I'm looking, waiting for the chat. I don't see anything. So again, thank you this evening for joining us. I know it's an awful day outside. The temperature has changed. We didn't expect this for Memorial Day weekend, but I hope you're in the comfort of your home and enjoying some hot cocoa or hot tea or something.
I was thinking wine. I was going to start this with, I'm not having one. I have iced tea here, but I was hoping everybody was sitting there with a glass of wine and chilling a little bit as they listen and learn. But I love talking about this stuff, and you can see from Gail and Gigi, they do as well. And I think we make a great team. They have many team members that are sponsors and supporters of ElderWorks and Asbury. And I'm one of the biggest fans of these two organizations. And this isn't the first time you've heard it if you know me.
So if anyone would like to get a copy of the ElderWorks directory, you certainly can reach out to us. All of you had registered through ElderWorks, but the new directory is out. Gigi, you just got your copies. I just dropped them off over there. So, but please do. We're happy to get you a copy. There's a lot of great information there.
Absolutely.
So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to your next presentation, Carol.
Thank you for hosting me. I appreciate it.
Okay, our pleasure. Okay, bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.